last name is spelled S-U-L-Z-M-A-N, and I'm allegedly from enemy country, Colorado Springs. But I would like to say something that many of you already know. A growing number of people in Colorado Springs, not a majority certainly, but a very increasing number of people are coming around to your way of seeing this. And the more educated they become about it, the more they're on your side. I'd like to follow up a little bit on what Jim said about the process that we're a part of here and that this statement came from. And this is not my first rodeo. I've been taking part in EISs for at least 30 years. A lot of them related to the Rocky Flats nuclear weapons plant and other things like that, where similar statements were done. I would like to read you one paragraph from this statement, and I'll emphasize certain words. It's in the section that is called cumulative effects. One of the things that this statement had to say, well, what else is out there? What other environmental issues might interact with this one? And at the end of this, if somebody can tell me what this means, please raise your hand. The first thing they mentioned here is something mentioned here earlier, the Latin, the low-level Air Force flights. It also mentions in here the potential addition of a combat aviation brigade. At least a third of the training of that brigade would happen down here, according to the EIS. There's an EIS in that statement, and yet we don't have any public hearings. You guys have more muscle here. You get, even for an EA, you get 2 public meetings. Anyway, this is the statement. Tell me what this means. Cannon Air Force Base in New Mexico has announced a proposal for low-level flights of aircraft over northern New Mexico and southern Colorado. So far, we understand that. Now we get into some of these weasel words. That proposal has not yet been coordinated with Fort Carson, but it is not anticipated that it will result in significant cumulative impacts at or near the PCMS. No landings at the PCMS are anticipated. Army aviation impacts at the PMS primarily from a combat aviation brigade, if one is stationed at Fort Carson, will largely be confined within the boundaries of PCMS. Flights between Fort Carson and the PCMS will generally be in defined air corridors with routes and times designed for minimum disturbance to people and livestock. Presumably, the Air Force will similarly take into account similar concerns in its planned routes and times. And that kind of language is layered throughout this EA and every EIS I've ever looked at. The language is so imprecise and lacking in detail that it means almost nothing or it means everything. And the other thing I want to read from is a short quote from the EIS. And for this combat aviation brigade with 120 helicopters that is right on the cusp of happening, they have a statement in there that seems to contradict what I just read, saying there would be no significant impact to PCMS if they get all these helicopters. The one area that they isolate in that EIS, saying it might be significant down here, is this. Other potentially significant impacts include soils at PCMS. And they go into some detail in the thing about landing and taking off helicopters being the cause of that. So I would just caution you to look at these two other issues that's interconnected with this one, and as a accumulated package, you get a better idea of what we're up against and how the working parts of this all need to be addressed at once. So with that, I'll be waiting outside with a person that knows what that paragraph meant that I just read. Thanks.